Hi guys, welcome to sorry, I did mess up my intro and I planned this out and I just start by messing up the intro. Okay, so hi guys, it's really nice to see you again. I'm super excited about this stream. Today, sorry, I'm really excited about the stream today. I have this all scripted out and I'm just messing it up. Sorry, let's go again. Hi guys, it's really good to see you. I'm really excited about the stream today. If you're new to the channel, I'm Olamide. I call myself ROJ the GOAT on this channel, and on this channel I talk about motion design, all things motion design, and I really talk to amazing people about motion design. A very special person has graced us with her presence. She is the supreme leader of Octane users, the wrestler of light, the tamer of render times, with the 3090 of course. She is the inspiration for Mufasa. She is Sarah Gibson. I wish there was a clapping, like a clapping sound effect, so like an cheering sound effect, but I forgot to add that. How are you doing today, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you?
I am not doing bad myself. I'm just chilling, trying to make the best of my time here. Okay, so Sarah is an amazing motion designer from St. Louis in the United States. She's currently freelancing and she's also my friend, and we have dope conversations every time. And today you guys get to listen to one of our conversation. And also, Sarah, if you ever want to start your own studio, I will be happy to intern for you. I feel like I've said this like 200 times, but
Yes, you have, but that's okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'll keep it in mind. I haven't even been freelancing for a year, so the idea of starting my studio at like a studio, it just seems like totally insane to me.
I think you should
You know what I mean?
I think you should go for it because like you're already doing amazing work. It's just
Thank you.
like getting like I feel like people would want to buy into that because you're amazing. Like I don't know how else to say it. How is the weather
Thank
today?
you.
How are you doing? How is work? How's work going?
Work is going good. Kicking off another big 3D project that's gonna take a while, but it should be fun and it'll have characters and stuff in it, which I'm excited about. So I'll have to work on some sketching later. Yeah, the weather is beautiful right now.
Nice.
It's like 70 degrees here in St. Louis and mild. Like my windows are open upstairs. So Yeah, it's really beautiful. Although tomorrow it's going to start raining, and it's going to rain, I think, all the rest of the week and the weekend. So then it won't be nice soon.
I think I think you said you're starting a new project. I think this is a good opportunity for me to intern for you because you're starting a new project and it's a big project and you need extra hands. So I'm currently going to submit my CV to you guys. I'm going to submit my CV to you. Like just go incorporate your company and I'll ready to send my
Oh,
CV.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. The client still hasn't approved the timeline because I extended it out a bit because I was just there's 4 videos. It's a lot. It's a lot of
Yeah, you
stuff.
need hands. Like my resume is coming or my let me send my reel right now. I'm just playing. Okay, but I think the weather is really nice for you. For us, it's really, really hot. I would queue for some rain right now. Like you can see, I'm sweating. I have like a whole towel beside me, and it's not even daytime. It's evening, and I'm sweating. But like, I really wish there was rain right now. So let's just get in right into the
Yeah,
questions. Let's start the
absolutely.
conversation with how did you start? How did you become a motion designer?
Okay. Well, so my degree is in graphic design, and I have a minor in creative writing. And I graduated in. I'm going to date myself. I graduated in 2010. So 11 years ago. Man, 11 years ago. Oh my God.
I feel
11
old.
years ago.
I feel old.
I feel so old. Uh,
Sorry, I should say that
I'm
I
not
feel
old, but I feel
young.
old.
You should feel old. I feel really young because 11 years ago, sorry, 2011, I was like, wait, did you say 11 years ago or 2011?
It's 11 years ago, so it's 2010. I graduated in
I was 9
2010.
years old. 9 years old. So like,
See, you're just making me feel older. Don't do that.
you should feel older.
I am older. I'm in my early 30s.
It's nice.
So, yeah, so I graduated, and back in 2010, it was really hard finding a job as a graphic designer. I lucked out and I got a job at a publication called Town and Style. It's a local one here in St. Louis. It's like a fancier newspaper because it's saddle stitched. And for people who don't know what that means, that just means that it's folded in half and stapled, sort of like a booklet, but large.
Yep.
In this case, for the paper, it was very large. And I was there for about 5 years. And towards the end, I it just wasn't challenging for me anymore. So, and there was nowhere for me to move up to. Like, there was nowhere for me to get promoted. And, I kind of hit the ceiling. And so I started looking for a new job, and I made a website. And on that website, I did a super, super simple animation, and you can't see this anymore. It doesn't exist. This was back when Adobe had
I will go and
Muse.
find it.
Now it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
I would go and find.
It is absolutely
I'll dig
gone.
through the internet
Uh,
to find it.
it doesn't exist because the host site is gone, and then I can't even open up the files because Muse doesn't exist anymore. So it is literally gone.
I get you.
It is disappeared into the ether of the internet, I
Is this the
guess. I don't
same
know.
domain name as the one you have right now?
No, it's a different
Oh,
one, which I still own. And I think if you go there, there's nothing.
yeah. Okay.
Like, because yeah, so I had it. Yeah, it was through Adobe and everything. And yeah, it was just a super simple animation of like these hands pointing at different places you could go onto my website. And it was super, super simple where I just, transparency keyframes. I think they were even like linear keyframes because I didn't know anything.
Okay.
And so it was super simple. And I'm just like, that was kind of fun. I would like to learn more about that. And then I interviewed at this health supplement company out in Chesterfield, Missouri. They're international, and they're called Relive. And when I was interviewing there, one of the interviewers, Brian Singler, who was the head of the video department at that time, now he's a colorist at Bruton Strobe. he really liked that I was interested in learning more motion design, and he encouraged me a lot. And while I was there, I just took this like little fitness quote thing and I made an animation out of it. And of course, as typical for me, I went way crazier than my computer could
Yeah.
handle. Uh, I was on an iMac that had about 4 gigabytes of RAM, and I was using Liquify in After Effects. And if any of you have used Liquify in After Effects, you know it takes a lot of RAM.
Just don't do
And
it.
yeah, yeah, don't do that on 4 gigabytes of RAM. It took forever because there was a lot of I moved something a little bit and then it would take forever to think about it, and then I would move something again, and it just yeah, it was exhausting. I maxed out the RAM on that iMac later, but yeah. So sorry, my
Yeah.
dog.
You sound like
so
you've been through a
So I
lot.
did that. I showed my boss at the time and, kind of
Yeah.
pitched that, hey, we could do like these little social media, little animation things. And she was like, yeah, no, that's really great. And so we started doing that. And the things I made were getting way more engagement than just the stills. So it just became part of the job. So I kind of created that opportunity. And then they paid for me to take some classes, and I took 2 After Effects courses that were at the local community college just to kind of fill in my self-taughtness since I was just watching tutorials all the time. And then I got into 3D, and I remember walking down the office, like walking down to Brian's office, getting the box of Cinema 4D, walking back down to my cube because I was in a cubicle then, and installing it on the iMac. And at that time, I also had a laptop on the laptop, so I would actually do team render. So I would be rendering on the iMac and the laptop at the same time. So that would speed things up a bit because it still took forever because it was on a Apple.
Yeah.
It just takes forever. At that time, at least. I don't know now. They have a fancy new card, but I don't know. But back then, it took forever. But yeah, and they paid for me to take a Grayscale Gorilla class with David Roder. And after that, I put together my first reel, and I got a full-time gig at Vidzu Media. And yeah, that's how I became a full-time motion designer and animator.
That makes so much sense. I like that you went from graphic design to motion design to so you went full time, so you really haven't been freelancing for much. But then your start sounds really, really it sounds like you've been through a lot with hardware issues.
Oh, I mean, it means I know a lot and I can translate things
Yeah.
well. Like explaining like title safe and motion safe on in video, I can easily translate that for my clients that predominantly work in print. Like there's a studio client I explained, well, it's like, well, this is really kind of like, your margins, like your safe area for if you have a bleed and you're cutting it. Because I know all about print design and, I can separate things out well. And with that background in print, I can think about things a little bit differently.
Yeah, and the background in publication, I definitely have found good use for it. So I just want to publicly thank you for helping me edit the freelance kit. Because like
You're
definitely
welcome. I was
combined,
happy
you're
to.
kind of like I can describe you as a full agency. I've been using the word agency a lot in this stream, but then you can do like you have. I feel like if you get a job, the next time you get a job, they should really pay you really really well because you can do what almost everyone in a team can do. You can be the art director, you could be the designer, you could edit the copy. Like you're like an agency on your own.
Oh, thanks. I've just had, oh, hi, Opie.
Yeah,
Sorry, my dog has decided he needs pets. He just butted my keyboard.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I've had a very winding path. And like, I didn't even talk about, it's funny, like looking back, I was just like, motion design wasn't really a thing when I was in college. There was one class and I didn't even take it.
Yep.
And then it's looking back, it's funny that I didn't even consider going into animation as a career. I don't know why. I just never did. And I think my background, it works out so well since I was a theater kid in grade school and high school. So I have that kind of background. And yeah, and I think that's why I'm so good at posing characters and stuff because I can act through things. I can think about it.
That makes sense. So Mr. Wimbush is here in the chat. Sorry, I just wanted to call him quickly.
Did he say what up?
Yeah,
What up?
he
Yep,
did
there
say
he
that.
is. I
Yeah,
see him.
sorry. Okay, so
He said he'd pop in.
yeah, he did. Okay, so you've been let me get what you said. Sure, you've been sorry, trying to remember. I got distracted by saying
It's okay.
Wimbush. Yeah, you weren't really like expecting to be an animator. I was like, how does it feel being an animator right now?
Uh, I love it. It makes me so excited. I can't wait to dig into my next short, as that's been in the back of my head for back in relive days actually. So like 6 years. The idea for the short I'm going to be working on next. I've talked about it a little bit, but it's going to involve a mummy, and yeah, that idea has been kind of in the back of my head for
Sounds
a long time.
exciting.
So
If you need
yeah.
an art director for your
Well,
project, call me.
after I saw Cinema 4D come out with the new like facial like
Yeah.
rigging setups and stuff, I'm like, excellent. Like this will be perfect for this because I want a lot of facial expressions in the piece.
Are you going to
So
try
I'm
out
very excited
VR?
to dig into
Are you
that.
going to try out like using VR in the project this time? Like you have the Oculus now and you have a powerful computer. Are you going to be playing
Hmm.
with VR like James?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna play with it. I was messing around in Quill over the weekend. Then I got busy. I need to. It's one of those things where I need to play with it more before I'm gonna use it in a client project. You know what I mean? It's really cool. It's really crazy. Like it's really funny that it was one of those things that I was like, the Oculus to me was like something that was cool, but not something that I needed. And then I saw Max on presentation with blanking on her name, but she's from Gunner, and she did the opening. They did the opening for the Blend conference, and she had modeled the world in VR. And watching her like explain how that worked and then just like throwing it together, I'm like, she just built this entire world so
Yeah.
quickly. Like, I need to get this.
Yeah.
Like, I went from that'd be cool to I need this.
Yeah. Then I'm guessing the next thing in that whole scenario is that you took out your card and you're like, I'm ordering up the Oculus straight out. I wish I had the chance
Yeah.
to just wake up and just order the Oculus. Like my friend was just asking me about the Oculus recently.
Well, I mean, they're coming out with a new one, so you might be able to get an older version one cheaper.
Nice. You know,
And I heard that somewhere that they're all now just going to all be wireless. Mine is wired to the computer, but now they're all going to just be wireless, I
be
think.
nice to see how it is.
I think Wimbush knows. I think he's the one who said something to me about it.
Yeah, is the one with is the tech guy here. So let's just go straight back. Like let's just like I know we've talked about a lot of things about your experience as a motion designer and how you started. We sounded like a really interesting story, and it put you as the kind of person who is an agency on your own. Even if I've been teasing you to start your own agency for the longest, I'll still be happy to intern for you. But like, yeah, but like, let's just go straight into why we are actually having this live stream, which is talking about your experience freelancing. So before we even go into that, what is freelancing to you?
Freelancing to me is freedom. That's why it's called freelancing. You have a lot of freedom. There's so many jokes with my family right now where it's like, oh, are you gonna come out this weekend? I'm like, no, I've got to work. And every time they're like, you really need to talk to your boss and stop working on the weekends. And that makes it sound like terrible. It really isn't that bad. It's just sometimes I spread things out and I'm like, oh, I'll just do this little thing on the weekend. But other times it's like the Coming to America collection. That was a rush job. So there were 2 weekends in a row I was working on it because I had to do what I had to do to get it done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was such a huge opportunity. I wasn't gonna like be like, no, I'm not working on the weekend. I'm like, no, I'm working on the weekend. I'm gonna make sure that this is awesome.
Yeah. The funny thing is, this year was the year I decided that, okay, I'm going to stop working on the weekend. My friend Mike Arkin has been posting about how he doesn't work on the weekend anymore and how it has changed his life. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to try this in 2021. And I did for the first month. Like, I didn't work on the weekend, but then February came and then I was super broke. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to work on the weekend.
I look at it as, oh, I'll just take a really long vacation.
Yeah.
Like when I can travel again, I'll just take a really long vacation.
But then you describe it as like being your own boss or like being free. But then
Hmm.
there's a lot of weight. There's a lot of like, sorry, there's this quote like Evie is there that wears that quote about crown and where and it being heavy. You're like literally wearing the crown of the boss for yourself. Like how do you manage that? Like where do you get the discipline from? Like that's the question I ask when everyone. I feel like that's one thing people don't get about freelancing. They feel okay, you're free, you're your own boss, but then Evie's the head that wears the crown. I guess I think I got the quote right now. Like it's hard. Like there's a lot of with power comes responsibility. I feel like there's so many quotes for that whole statement. I, I feel like I should have said with great power comes great responsibility instead of messing up the quote. But what I'm saying is how do you manage yourself? How do you be disciplined? Because one thing that I know that has like is really really hard for me in my freelance career is like being disciplined. Because I would get a project and I wouldn't really manage it well, and then the client is not happy. I'm not happy. Everyone is not happy, and the project comes out like shit. How do you manage that?
Uh, yeah, I set up a lot of milestones for myself and I put them on my calendar as tasks so that way I get reminded of them and then I can like look and see, okay, well, this is due this day and that's due this day. So if I'm going to meet those deadlines, I need to work on this today and I need to work on this later. And, it's all about balancing. As long as I have a deadline, I am super strict with myself. And maybe it's quarantine and that I live alone with my dog, but sometimes I'll talk to myself. It's like, okay, Sarah, like you can play video games later, but first you need to at least rough in this V1, then you can play video games.
So it's like you're giving yourself a gift after you finish the work. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
as soon as I'm done.
Yeah. I was like, you can play video games after you finish this, or you could, I don't know, order Indian food.
What does Indian food taste like?
Oh, it's just, like sometimes I'll be like, that'll be my reward. You'll order Indian food tonight since you're going to be working late on this. And that way you don't have to cook and then you have delicious food to eat later.
That makes sense. I feel like the hard part of freelancing is what doesn't get talked about enough. That's why when I was writing the freelance kit and I was done, then Adam Korman was like, you have to add a chapter for mindset about because like freelancing is not easy. It's difficult. You're your own boss. You don't know how much work your boss does. It just looks like he's in a office, glass window office. So like beautiful office, great design office, and he's making decisions and just sitting there. There is a lot of responsibility
Hmm.
that comes with being the boss. You have to find
Yes.
clients, you have to manage the health insurance for your entire employee, which is you, yourself, and you.
Hmm.
And you have to make sure the clients are happy and all that responsibility
Hmm.
that your boss have fall on you. You're your own boss and you're also the worker at the same time. How do you manage that? And I feel people really need to talk about this more. And I'm hoping like people get some like if you ever get anything from this conversation, it shouldn't be the fact that freelancing is easy. Freelancing is hard as F. Like
It is. Yeah. It was definitely harder when I first started out. Now I don't really reach out much. Everyone just comes to me and asks, "Hey, are you available?" Like I unfortunately had to turn someone down this morning. I'm like, sorry, I can't give you a hold on those days. I'm full.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, those guys you
But
turned down, just
yeah,
pass
like
them
in the
on to me.
beginning, I mean, I read Joey's Freelance Manifesto book and like that's was my Bible. And I have a spreadsheet of all the people I reached out to and yeah.
Do you know the moment you, this is going to sound like repetitive, but the moment where you have so much work is the moment that you need to start your own agency. Think about it. Yeah. The moment where you have like, you need to like, my mom will say this, I turn down work a lot. But anytime I tell her I turn down work, she always gets really angry. She'll be like, okay, that is what your team is for. Why are you turning down work? So like the moment you feel you the moment you start having like 10 bookings at once, I really do hope you don't have 10 bookings at once.
No, no, no. I have never had 10 bookings at once. I think the most I've had maybe is five
Yeah,
at
that is a
once.
good number.
But then that's like a couple little things and maybe like two bigger projects, not like I'm doing five full like animation series or something like that. It's just more like you're doing a series of animations for this client and then you're doing like a logo animation for this person and whatever else, like just little things that get sprinkled in from people.
Yeah, I get you. I feel like those little things, like little drops of water make an ocean, no matter how little they are. Like, I feel like the moment you are start having tens, thousands of clients, you definitely need to, sorry, let's say 10,000, 5 clients, 10 clients. You definitely need to hire someone because you need extra hand. Because I feel like if you are able to take that client, for example, and you're able to, you have a team of people working with you and you're able to give them a good experience, they will definitely come back with bigger project, no matter how small it is. So let's say you have a team handling that and you're giving them a good experience, because it's definitely not about, it's not about like doing the work, it's about the experience they have working with you, like giving them a good experience. And the fact that you have a team that would work hard to give them a good experience means they would come back with bigger projects. And you have an agency, so like start your own agency and call me quickly. I would be really happy to intern. I really need to stop with the internship joke. But I hope you got what I'm trying to say though.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. How was the transition from full time to freelance like for you?
I was a baby bird that got pushed out of the nest. That is the best way to put it. Uh, the studios at Vidzu Media. I love all the people there. I would not be as good as I am today without them. Sorry,
Yeah.
Opie. They supported me a lot. They encouraged me a lot. They paid for me to take two different School of Motion classes, which are awesome. Which I just was taking one of those recently.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just kind of an unfortunate series of events, like the books, but
Yeah.
without Count Olaf, where everything was shaping up that 2020 was going to be like the best year ever for all of the companies that are in this collective that are run by the CEO. And we had just moved into a bigger, more expensive building. It was, like custom built on that floor for us. And it was like so much new stuff. And we moved in at the beginning of 2020. And
Yeah.
then March happened here and it yeah, just things didn't go so well for us in 2020, like a lot of people in a lot of places. So it started off with just like they got money from the government, so then our laying off was delayed, but then we got like our salaries were cut. So I had like 2 months of prep time before I went freelance, sort of, because there was the week where they told me that in 2 weeks I was going to be let go and basically told, like, well, you're just going to have to go freelance. And it's kind of funny that they said that, but I mean, but really, that was the only
Yeah.
option because no one's hiring. So, like, you're just like, they're telling me it's a weird thing for your employer to tell you, like, hey, you're going to go freelance. Like, that's like, what?
You,
But it's, and I remember on that call, and it wasn't a video call, we were just all on the phone, and I had mine on mute because, of course, I just started crying because I had never been unemployed ever. Ever since I got my first full-time job out of college, I had never been unemployed. I've never been let go from a job either.
yeah.
Like, typically my employers love me. So it was like a crazy experience. And I remember, like, I cried, I called my mom and was talking to her while I'm walking my dog. And I'm just like, okay, like, I gave myself a day to freak out, get all the tears out. Next day, I started working on my reel and getting a new website put together since my old website had disappeared into the ether
Yeah.
after Adobe got rid of their web hosting. And like, once they got rid of that, I had like canceled my Creative Cloud membership because that was the only reason I was paying for it. Because I mean, I had it through work, but I was only holding on to my membership since I
Yeah.
was I had my website through it. And so then at that point, I got my own Creative Cloud. I started working on getting my own subscriptions to all of the, apps that I use, and started talking to my brother about building myself a computer because I had been planning on building myself a good computer that year, just not that quickly and at a drop of a hat. So I'm like trying not to freak out, like figuring out, okay, how much money do I have in savings? How much money do I have in my stocks and stuff? Do I need to sell some so I can build this computer really quickly? And I'm very lucky that I have very supportive parents who helped me out with that because they're like, no, 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 don't do that here. We'll pay for this part. You handle all that stuff. And got the computer built, got my favorite monitor, which is hanging up over
Yeah.
here, which is just like one I had at Vidzu. So I got the same one. I got it used off Amazon. And then another friend of mine who has now moved to Colorado, he gave me a monitor because I was like, I'll just start off with one monitor. And then after I make some money, then I'll buy a second monitor. And it's going to be hard going back to a one monitor setup, but
Yeah.
this is what you have to do. Like, you can't just like go throwing money around everywhere. Who knows how long it's going to take for you to get a client? But then, like, a week later, after all of this, it was like, okay, actually, you're all going to stay on. And then it wasn't until June, because that was April when I first thought I was going freelance. And I had already started reaching out to all of my contacts because luckily I know a lot of people here in St. Louis, just from being involved in, yeah, like
Community.
local AIGA stuff, and I've done motion graphic events and stuff. So I had a lot of contacts. So I was like emailing everybody like, hey, I'm going freelance on this date. Hey, I like keep me in mind if anything comes up. And then I had the awkward conversation of actually, I'm not going freelance now. And I felt so bad about
Yeah.
it. But I'm like, there's really nothing I can do because like my mom is like, you can't just like walk away because I'll be honest, like getting unemployment at the very beginning of having to go freelance was really a nice little cushion for me, especially because there was the extra money because of COVID, that it was a nice little cushion for me. And just until my freelance career really started to go. And then I started getting clients. And then, of course, I wasn't claiming unemployment anymore. I was always like extremely honest with the government about this is what I've made this
You're a
week.
good person.
It is not a full-time gig. I reached out to these people this week. I was very,
You're a good
yeah,
person.
very
You're very
specific.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. But are you enjoying your
I don't
time
want to mess with
freelancing?
that. I've got enough things to worry about that I don't want to get in
Yeah.
trouble.
So everyone be good, like pay your taxes. Don't skip out on your taxes. It would F you up later in
No,
life. Sorry, later in the year.
they'll figure it out at some point and it's going to hurt.
Yeah, they'll just charge you.
Put aside a good amount of money for taxes too. Just like, yeah.
Okay, so are you enjoying freelancing? Like, are you enjoying the
Yes.
responsibility of being your own boss.
Yes.
I feel like you had like a
Yeah.
really, as much as I would like to say it, I would like, as much as it sounds really weird, but I think you had a really cool transition to freelance. I wish my okay, I've never actually worked full time. Okay, I did work full time for two companies last year, and I only lasted 2 weeks in each company. But sorry, so like I've been
Two
2 weeks
weeks, just long
each.
enough for, just you to get a
Yeah,
paycheck.
I got half of each. I got half of the month for both companies. From there, I knew okay, freelance. Sorry, full time employment is definitely not for me. That was when I knew for sure that okay, I really enjoy this freelancing thing, or I really enjoy having a team that I work with. But full time, nah, that's a no no. Because it was like the first company, the contract they gave me, the first there was like I don't know if I can say this, but there was like this clause that I couldn't work for anybody else, so I couldn't really do freelancing without notifying them. And I was like, in my head, I was like, this is close to slavery. Why should I lock myself to one company? No, never. I cannot do that.
I can see what you're saying there. I really do enjoy being able to pick and choose my clients. Like it hasn't happened often where I'm just like, no, but there's been ones that I'm like, I this would make me feel uncomfortable to work on this, so I'm not going to work on this
Yeah,
on like moral grounds.
and for me, my like the only thing I have against most companies or full time employment is the fact that it's too corporate. I really hate corporate. I hate the word corporate. I hate being corporate. I
Oh,
hate dressing corporate.
oh, yeah, but corporate stuff, I mean, that's a meal project. That's not something you put in your reel, but that's something you just do to make the money.
Yeah, I feel this is going to sound weird, but I don't want to do things because I want to make the money. Like I want to do it because I actually enjoy it and I find value in it. Because money is literally not everything. Though I wish I had money right now, I would get the camera I want to get
Hmm.
and my visuals would look like yours. Yeah, but money is not everything. Money is just one part of it. A friend of mine told me something a few weeks ago. Like, what matters is the value you're giving. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Opie, stop.
It
Come here.
scared me a little bit. So, what matters is like the value you're giving to that person. So, like this person you're working with, can you give them the most value? Like, once you can
Hmm.
figure that out and you can give them value, then the money is secondary. The money is just a result of the value you've given to them, basically. And that's just how I want to live my life as a value giver, not necessarily a money maker. And I think that's what you should think
Hmm.
about when you freelance. Because why should I hire you? Like, what value are you giving to my business? Am I going to get money from hiring you? Am I going to get customers from hiring you? Like, why should I hire you? And you need to have a clear understanding of the value you're giving that person. Yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm a motivational speaker right now because I'm saying so many things. Okay, let's go into the next question. What do you think about exposure work? I remember we had like a weird conversation about doing exposure work. I,
Yeah, it depends on the person. Like if it actually like most of the time like someone's like, "Oh, and this you're going to be paid an exposure." It's like, No, you're not." Like it's this isn't big enough for this to actually be paid an exposure. Unless you're doing like a music video for Beyonce, like this is not this is not going to translate into exposure dollars.
yeah,
And also, if you were doing, say, a music video for Beyonce, Beyonce has money and she can at least pay you a bit for that
I
project.
mean Beyonce, like Queen B. I mean, she wouldn't
Hmm.
want to get into that situation where people would start accusing her of not paying our
Yeah.
our workers because she has a big brand. She cannot damage that brand. She cannot damage that.
Hmm.
She cannot damage that the Queen Bee brand. Yeah, but like there are a lot of artists that really are careless about their brand and they do that. I was checking on Twitter, not Twitter, it was Instagram. Then there was this lady, she did a cover art for an artist and the artist didn't pay and then she had to drag the artist online just so she could get her money. That artist is careless about his brand. I don't think Beyonce is that
Hmm.
careless about her brand, even though would have gotten.
No, definitely not. She was like the first like biggest name I could think
Yeah.
of, for like she like her, yeah, you would get a lot of exposure for doing work for
Hmm.
her. And yeah, just but like
Sorry.
there are definitely projects of mine where I will agree to a lower price because it is something I really want to do. And I know it will be a great opportunity and it's something I'm going to enjoy doing. And if that is what their budget is, I will make it work because I want to do it. And it's to me, it's kind of like getting paid for almost a passion project. And usually in those cases, you have a little bit more creative freedom because you aren't charging your full rate. So you get a little bit more creative control as well as, like, yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it comes back to the value conversation. Does that work
Hmm.
give you value, and do you give them value basically? And okay, you're not thinking about money, then you're thinking about, if I do this for this business, what would they gain? And
Hmm.
even though I'm doing it for free, what would I gain in return? If the followers they have is seems valuable to you, followers don't really equate to money. If it seems valuable to you, you're like, okay, maybe 100,000 people would see, um, which is like unlikely because of the algorithms and all the social media networks. But let's say 100,000 people would see my work and they would call me back. If that is
Hmm.
like, if you find value in that, I would say do it. Like, just do it, but don't complain after. Like I do after exposure work. Don't complain after you say yes to it. But
Hmm.
then I would also like you to talk about the project with the Coming to America project, because it started out as a passion project and it's
Well, no, like that one, they reached out to me, although I didn't know it was for coming to America until after, like all of the I's have been dotted and the T's, like contracts have been signed and stuff. And then they sent me
yeah, but
the
then
product line images. I'm like, oh,
you did something like,
yes. Last year, before I went freelance, actually, just about a year ago, because I think it was in March of last year, um, I I bought a lipstick from them. It was like I'm a little bit of a lipstick person. I have a lot of different colors. I've got like over 20 different kinds of lipstick because yeah,
sorry.
it's a thing. Although it's been sad with quarantine where I haven't really worn them, and I'm just like, look at all this lipstick just sitting here that I don't really wear because I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But um, so it was like 50% off on Ulta, and I just like bought it online and I got it and I was just amazed by how sparkly it was. Like this is the piece that's in my reel, like that you showed bits of in the opening of this. But
We're just going to let him bark. Yeah.
there's a dog barking outside, so he has to bark, and now he has to go outside and bark. It's a whole barking thing.
Yeah.
But it was just so sparkly and just I'd never seen like it looked like it was encrusted with diamonds, the lipstick did. And I'd never seen a lipstick like that. And I just thought it was so pretty and that like the packaging was just so nice and it had this very magnetic closure that they have on all their lipsticks.
Mhm.
Like their lipsticks are very high quality and I'm wearing one from the Coming to America right now. This is not so Mika.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I'll wear lipstick for the live stream because I never wear lipstick anymore. It's sad.
But
Uh
then you have lipsticks lying around.
yeah. And so yeah, so I just decided to first model the lipstick and try to recreate the texture. It was just more of a personal challenge for me. And so I did that and I posted stills as I was going and after I made the lipstick I was like, "Oh, let's animate it." And then I made feathers and then so I did all that and they saw it cuz I tagged them on Instagram and they, reposted it. They asked if they could. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go for it."
Have fun.
They reposted it and yeah, it's so then I connected with their head of marketing on LinkedIn. We had a phone call like a year ago. So I know after that, I'd been kind of like a secret weapon sort of kind of thing in their back pocket, is what they described me. Like they were waiting for something big, and then something big came along. And
Something.
so it was really cool. They sent me all the products so that way I could model them in 3D because I it wasn't really like some clients, they don't think it's necessary, but I always prefer to have the actual thing that I can hold it. So,
Yep.
especially with these, since they're opening and closing, that way I can see how they open, how they close, how do they look this way and that way. That way it helps me recreate it better. But yeah, so that was a project, passion project that I just little thing I did for fun,
Hmm.
and that turned into a big project
I think
like a year later.
yeah, I think why I brought up the that project is the fact that I feel like exposure work should be done, like you should only do exposure work if you're happy with it. You did that work. I wouldn't call it exposure work, it's a passion project. But then
Hmm.
if they had asked you to do it and not paid you, we could call it exposure work. But they didn't ask you, but you did it because you loved the product, you loved
Hmm.
how it works, and you loved the quality. I figured that if you want to do an exposure work, do it with a brand that you love, you absolutely love, and you wouldn't mind. For me, if Apple calls me today, I would leave Nigeria on my own money. Sorry, let me not shoot myself in the leg in case they want to pay for the flight. I would leave Nigeria. You guys are paying for the flights, please. And I would come to California just to work on that project, even if they are not paying me. I would, because it's Apple. Because I love Apple. Though I've never used an Apple
Hmm.
device before, but I love Apple. That's the most important thing. Yeah, yeah.
I love Apple too, and their stuff is always beautiful. I always
It's
love
just not fast
their
for
pieces that
3D.
they put out. Hmm.
Apple, I would buy you when you come up with a good device for rendering. But yeah, like Apple is that brand that I know that I can confidently do like I would do exposure work for, because imagine having Apple in my portfolio. It would be so cool. Like I feel like
Hmm.
you have to be able to do, if you're doing an exposure work, it has to be with a brand that you absolutely love and you know you can give value to. Other than that, it's pointless. Don't do it. Don't take on any exposure work. It's just a waste of time, especially if the client is the one asking for you to do it for exposure work, like, and not pay you, because it shows that they don't really value what you do. They don't see the fact that they have to pay for what you do, and those kind of people would only give you more problems. In like the relationships you have with them are just going to bring up more problems, and you're just going to keep having more problems with the fact that they don't want to pay you and they don't value you.
Hmm.
So like
Well, it goes almost on a I see it kind of like a sliding scale. Like if you're not going to pay for it, that means I have complete creative control.
some
Like really you have like no say
yeah,
in what's happening unless there's some sort of legal problem.
some clients are like, you'll be surprised. Some clients are like, you have no creative control over it, but then they still want you to do it for free. And
Hmm.
they will treat you, those clients are like shit, like assholes. Don't work for them.
Those are clients you just are like, no, thank
I
you.
feel like you can almost tell if this client is going to be an asshole just from talking or just from the first message. Like I always can tell if it's just like, it's like I have like this spidey sense of feeling like, okay, I know I can tell that this client is going to give me issues in the next few weeks. Sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm so broke and I need to get this thing tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, yes, I'm going to take this client that I know that in my spidey sense is already triggering me that this person is going to be like a problem for me. And I just take on the client, and a
Yeah.
few weeks later, lo and behold, the person is a problem. And I knew in my heart that, okay, this person was going to be a problem, but I didn't listen. I feel like you can almost tell that this client is going to be troubled. Like, just go with your guts. 80% of the time,
Hmm.
it is always correct. When he says this person is annoying, this person would really treat you like shit. Go with your guts and maybe transfer the client to
Yeah,
someone
I'm
else.
lucky. All my clients have been awesome. Like they all have been so nice and positive and happy and yeah, I've just been lucky, I guess. Or maybe it's my personality rubbing off on them because I'm always trying to
I
be.
think it's luck. don't think it's
Yeah, it might be
personality.
luck.
I don't think it's personality. Because you can be like the most amazing person in the world and you just come across a very, very shitty client and you just wonder, but I'm the most amazing person in the world. I don't deserve this. And you're like, it's just life, it's just luck. I think you would definitely, I mean, you just started freelancing. You definitely see, so
Mhm.
you definitely, you just have to. You're definitely going to experience the most terrible clients in your time as a motion designer, and you're just going to learn how to deal with them as you grow, and
Mhm.
just enjoy the process and don't feel bad about it. But then you're going
Yeah.
to experience the worst
Yeah.
clients soon enough.
Well, actually, thinking about it, there has been one. It's just like it was a particular project. I'm like, well, I'm never doing that again. And I like that as a freelancer, I have that power. Like, I'm just like, nope. If they reach out to me about doing this next year, I'm just going to be busy.
Yeah, honestly,
Opie, no.
we're just going to let OP play and have fun.
He's got a squeaky dinosaur. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, you can let him go outside though. Anyways, I've lost my train of thought. We're talking about
Squeaky dinosaur was
we're talking
distracting.
about annoying clients. I feel like this is what like bosses go through and you don't see. Like
I'm sorry.
this
What?
is what bosses go through that you don't see. Like you see the bosses are dealing with the annoying clients in the back end. Well, you are while you are working on the project. Now that you're a freelancer, you have to deal with the clients yourself, and you have to deal with the bad side of being your own boss. You have to see what like you have to experience what your boss is experiencing, which is just the point of freelancing, I guess. Anyways,
Mhm.
anyways, let's move on to the next question, which might be the final question, and then we can maybe just have fun for the remaining few minutes. What would you say to anyone who wants to try out freelancing?
Make sure you have enough money set aside to basically not be paid for 3 months or so.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some clients like are really great and they pay you immediately, which is not the norm. That is not the norm at all. Other clients typically will pay you 30 days later,
Hmm.
and big clients typically will pay you like 90 days later,
Yeah.
depending. It all depends. There's some like really big corporations where it's like, well, we're like on a 90-day for our freelancers or something. Like it takes that long to go through accounting. Don't ask me how, but it does. But like so yeah, just make sure that you have savings set aside and then just always be willing to learn. Like just in this field in general, you always need to, there's always something new. There's always some new plugin, there's some new technique, there's always something new. And you just have to be one of those people who enjoys learning to be keep getting better. Like don't ever think you know everything. You don't.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. Nobody
Those are some
does.
solid advice for the next like. Sorry, I wanted to like touch upon this real quick. I feel like another thing I would say to anyone like is trying out freelancing is you have to be accountable. Find someone to be accountable to. Like for me, I have a team, so I have several people I have to be accountable to. It's really easy
Mhm.
to like just have money, spend it immediately, spend it recklessly, or just have a project and not manage it well, and then everyone is not happy. I've experienced it so many times, and I just told myself enough is enough. I really need to start being accountable, and it's one thing I would say to anyone trying out freelancing. Since you're your own boss, no one can tell you except your client, of course, because your clients are your bosses. Unfortunately,
Yes, they are.
yeah, I said unfortunately because I don't like having bosses. Okay, since you're your own boss, no one can really control. No one can help you manage your finances, and no one can control how you spend and how you manage the client and how you manage the project. So you're basically doing that on your own. If you're like me and you're not as disciplined, you would a client like so many things could happen, and you wouldn't manage the project well and it doesn't go as planned and no one is happy and it's just bad. So like be
Mm-hmm.
accountable. It's the most important trait of an entrepreneur and but like as a freelancer, you're an entrepreneur, you are running a business. You're not your own boss, you are the boss of your business. It just turns out like you're the
Mm-hmm.
only employee. It reminded me of that meme I sent you where there's like this guy congratulating himself as the employee.
All right, I'm just gonna reload and see what happens.
Okay,
Barking at everything? I think you've barked all at everything now. There's nothing left to bark at.
yeah. We're definitely back. Are we back? I'm not sure. Oh my god. I really do hope I haven't lost everything.
I try him, like I'll give him things to keep him busy, but then whenever I give him something, he's always like, I'll eat this later. I'll chew on this
Yeah.
later. Uh,
Okay, we have
oh
only
wait,
one person.
it looks like we're back.
We have only one person viewing. Feels like everyone left. Yeah, I'm so sorry for the short intermission. The internet's falling out is totally my fault. I take full responsibility for it because I forgot to pay for it. I forgot. I feel so bad that I forgot to pay for it. I had everything set up perfectly. It was just for I already paid for the internet. It was just for me to click on the button and have my internet running, but I forgot to click on the button. So I'm so sorry that you guys had to go through that. I really do hope it doesn't happen again. So let's just get back into the video. I was talking about a meme the last time we the last thing you heard should be me talking about a meme that we saw, which is just
Hmm.
this guy congratulating himself as the employee of the
Yeah,
month in his own company and is the only employee, and then he's replying the post about him congratulating himself that he has a great boss. So I was
yeah.
just
That he's the employee of the month, and as reward, he gets this all expenses paid fishing trip to somewhere. And yeah, it was like his brother had shared it, had like reposted it on
yeah.
Facebook, had shared it, and was like, "This is my brother's company. He is the only employee."
Yeah.
So it's like he was like for the other people who did stuff, and it's all really you or
Yeah.
something. I've heard of people that will do that or like make an anagram of their own name.
But what I was saying is that like when the call got disconnected is that you as like a freelancer, that is basically you. Like that is the
Hmm.
perfect definition of what it means to be a freelancer. You are your own boss. You are the one managing the team. You are the team. You are the one managing the finances. You are the CFO. You are the accountant, and you're also the
Hmm.
CTO. You're the one troubleshooting if anything goes wrong.
Oh yeah.
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 And then you get to see like when you're working full time, you really don't see the part like the struggles your boss goes through to keep the client happy. And as a freelancer, you have to do that yourself, and
Hmm.
that's what we're saying, and that's what it was. And I think we started as the final question, which is what would you say to anyone who wants to try out freelancing? And you said the person should save up money, and
Hmm.
I think what I said is like a second version, if another version of the same thing you said, which is you have to be accountable for everything. Like you have to be ready to be accountable because you are your own
Sorry,
boss.
the mailman came here, so
Yeah.
he's very excited.
Sorry. Okay, so I we're about closing the stream. This is just the part of the stream where I look into the chat and see if anyone has any questions. And this is the fun part of the stream. This is where we just have fun and talk about fun stuff. I really do hope it's not buffering anymore because YouTube is definitely showing an error from my end. Can you comment if it's working well for you, if the live stream is working well for you, so I can troubleshoot a little bit more so we can have a smoother ride? Is it working well for you, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean we're on a delay, but yeah, it's working well.
Awesome, because YouTube has this error message here, and I just wanted to be sure that everything is going well. Okay, like I was saying, this is the fun part of the stream. someone posted a question the other time and I didn't get to look at it, but I'm looking at it now. And it was Diego, and he said, "I'm starting out my freelance career, but I'm having a lot of troubles finding new clients. Do you guys have any tips?" The first tip I would say is go and buy my book that is coming out this midnight, The Freelance Kit.
Hmm.
And go and buy the Freelance Kit,
Yeah, that's a good tip. And you have it recommended in your book as well, but also the Freelance
the Freelance
Manifesto is
Manifesto,
a great book to read.
and also Pocket
I've
Full of Dough.
recommended that to other people who want to go freelance that aren't even motion designers because a lot of the tips in there are just universal on how to get clients.
Yep, yep. That is true. Like, get Jerry Corman's book because his book like goes at it from the perspective of a motion designer, and it's just the perfect book for motion designers. And also, like Pocket Full of Dough by Chris Doe, it is like a perfect book for was it's a perfect book for entrepreneurs. And as a freelancer, you're basically an entrepreneur, or we can say you're a solopreneur. I'm looking for the link so you can go get the freelance kit that is supposed to come out this midnight. I'm just trying to finalize the illustrations. Then I can post it once so I can share it.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to
I see Logan is asking what the next project is.
the next live stream or like
Yeah. Oh, no, the next project. Or what are you currently working on, if you can say?
I will let you go first. Then I will say what I'm working on.
I haven't signed anything with the newest one that has just kicked off, but I will just say that there's 4 animations. There's going to be characters involved. It's 3D. The first of the 4 is 3 minutes long, so it's gonna be a big one.
Yep.
Uh, Luckily, the following 3 are much shorter. But so that is the next big project for me. I believe the other ones that I'm working on are live right now. So I I did some 2D animations for thyroid diseases and stuff. So like not extremely exciting, but it's pretty. It's
Nice.
it's got a pretty look to it and a little bit psychedelic with the kind of tie-dye gradient that I created for the basically to represent
I
hormones
would love to check it
going
out.
through the body and the butterfly because since the thyroid is kind of a butterfly shape, we created a butterfly for it. So that's something that's getting close to wrapping up. I've got one left in the series to do. Um, and they've been rolling them out since the beginning of the year. I've been working on this project forever.
Again, Sarah, like I started this conversation with, if you need an intern, call me.
I am working with another animator on those. She's been doing cell animation for me for them.
Nice. I
So
think you told me about
yeah, it's
that.
been a combination of
That's
2D Duic character animation with some cell animation and also some just classic motion graphics happening.
that
But yeah.
would be dope. I would love to see it. For me, I've been trying to finalize the freelance kit, and I just finished working on a project with a startup called Lockhart. They're like revolutionizing the dictionary app, which is crazy because no one really thinks about, like, we almost think about dictionary apps and like, it's just a dictionary app. We really need to do any revolutionizing in the dictionary. We need to innovate in the dictionary app. And I'm working on I just finished working on a project with them. They're really nice people. This is one of those people that I genuinely want to work with them, and I genuinely want to, like we're saying, if you don't like this client, don't do it. Like, don't do the project. You just feel frustrated. I genuinely love everything about them, and I just finished the project with them, and I'm trying to render out the project. My friend Brian, you should check out his channel, Bold and Break. He's helping me render it, and that's just what I'm doing right now. Also, I'm working on a commercial for a brand in a brand that makes this Nigerian snack called Chin Chin. Sarah, you have to try Chin Chin. It's really lovely snack. And
I'd be happy to.
I
I
would
I love trying all sorts of different food.
I would definitely look for a way to send you some.
Cool. Now I would look forward to that. Like, I have a subscription, which actually I need to cancel again because I'm gonna cut out sugar. But it's called Universal Yums, where every month they send you a box of snacks from a different country.
That would be that's so nice. I wish it
Yeah,
was there.
it's a lot of fun. I had subscribed to it a little bit last year. I'm like, oh, I can't travel, but I can at least try different snacks from other countries.
Did they get you
So
chin
it
chin at
was
any
like
point? I mean,
a way to still experience a different culture, but still have to stay home kind of thing.
yeah.
And then I canceled it for a bit and then I restarted it for Christmas because I wanted to get their Christmas box and I shared that with my family. So there was all sorts of holiday goodies from all over the world that were specifically like,
Have you ever gotten anything from
Christmas related.
Nigeria? Have you
Hmm?
ever gotten anything from Nigeria?
I don't think yet. The last one I want to say was from it was either the last two, one was from the Netherlands and one was from the Ukraine. I think the one from the Ukraine, they really like licorice,
Yeah.
so I didn't eat any of that. I don't like licorice.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm definitely going to find a way to send you some chin chin. I think it's just like
I would love to try
I
it.
think it's just like $12 to ship it because the company I'm working with, my team is I'm not working on it alone. My team is working on it. Is in Canada, so I think it's like $12 to get them to ship it to you. Let's just see. Who knows? Let's see how it goes. I definitely need to. You need to try it. It's one of those snacks that you just enjoy eating randomly. And
Oh yeah. I love going to the international food store and just like getting different things and
yeah,
trying it. I have a very wide collection of ramen, which is an easy late night meal to make for me if
noodles,
I'm working late.
ramen.
Yeah, instant noodles, ramen. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a bunch of different kinds.
I had noodles the other night. I actually don't enjoy noodles.
Really?
yeah,
Oh man, because like instant noodles are seem to
lifesavers.
be like there seems to be different kinds in every country. It's really interesting.
I think the company that makes noodles here, I don't want to mention their name. I don't want to give them free advertising, even though it's just 6 people watching. No, we're not doing that. Who knows how many people are going to watch in the next 3 years? No free advertising for you. Anyways, the company experiments with different flavors or different ways or different styles that might appeal to this side of the world. Because here we definitely love eating pepper, like
Hmm.
pepper. Like there's this joke about someone like making pepper and just adding sorry you wouldn't get it where there's this common dish rice and stew, so like you have boiled rice and you eat it with peppered stew. So someone made this
Oh,
joke
nice.
of making pepper and adding small rice to it. Normally you have like like a lot of rice and you add just small pepper stew on it, but the guy was like making a joke about having a lot of like they gave him sorry I have to show you the video, but the idea is you have the pepper is more than the rice. The pepper should never be more than the rice. We're just trying to emphasize how much he loves pepper, and we love pepper a lot in this country. A lot of the food we eat is has a lot of pepper. So they definitely like innovated and just tried to find a way to add more pepper and innovate with the flavor and all and add fish and more things to it, and it was just really weird. I haven't really tried it for myself because I'm not a fan of noodles, but who knows, I might actually like it if I try it.
Oh, well, when I do instant noodles, it's typically fancier. I add things to it and,
Yeah,
poach an egg in it and all sorts of stuff. It's not just like follow the instructions. It's follow the instructions, but add things
yeah.
and like kimchi and whatever else. Cheese.
So someone is asking Octane or Redshift and your current computer specifications. I'm going to
Okay.
start this conversation by saying
Right. I have I use Octane predominantly right now. I
like I
am
said in the
learning
intro.
Redshift. I have it. I've had it for a while now. Ever since Maxon 1 came out, I was like, okay, now I have Redshift. It had
This
always been
is
something I was planning on getting, and then I have it. I was talking to Rob, who's in the chat, about it the other day because he was asking me if I was ever going to learn. I'm like, yes, I am. It's something that I need to experiment myself before I start using it in client work.
Yeah,
especially on a rush job. I'm not going to experiment and throw a monkey wrench into the project right off the bat by using something I am not as familiar with
I
as I
think I
am
do
with.
that a lot. 80% of the time when I work, I've never
Hmm.
used that software before in my life.
Yeah.
Except Blender, I use Blender all the time. But most of the time when I always try new tools for almost every project, which is just how I work.
Yeah. And my computer, I just got a new computer a couple weeks ago that my little brother built for me again. And I did get my hands on a 3090. So I have one of those. I have
Yeah.
a fancier motherboard. I think it's like a gaming one.
Like I said in the intro, she's the theme of render times with the 3090, of course.
Yeah, my render times are now 4 times faster. It's amazing. It really helped, excuse me,
Yep.
wrap up the
Coming
Coming
to
to
America.
America collection animation because there was a few last minute changes and I was able to get those out really quickly, which was fantastic because it was the Sunday that
Hmm.
I sent the final to them that I had my old computer rendering while I'm setting up the new computer. And then I switched over and then started doing more renders. I'm like, this is going so much faster.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to this render and I'm going to tweak things a little bit and make it just better, which normally I would just have to be like, no, like I'll just have to live with it. And now I was like, nope, I can change it and it's no big deal. This will take a half hour, whereas before it would take 4 hours. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like she's the theme of render times, guys. And she's also the supreme leader
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Octane
Although my
user.
mom has been talking to me, she's like, well, now you don't have that excuse of like you're rendering something. Because before I'd be like, well, I'm rendering. And while it's rendering, I'm going to clean. Now I don't have that.
Yeah. Now you have to take your weekends off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still good. And it means now with my render times being so much faster, I can crank up samples even more,
Yeah.
if I
And
need
you can
to.
render 4K.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't had to do any renders in 4K yet. So, but I'm sure that will change.
Yeah, I remember there's this plugin on After Effects by that AE script made. This, like, let's say you have like a huge gaming PC and it's powerful, it's tuned for After Effects. The plugin slows down your render time so you can go grab a coffee and rest. So while your boss are like, render this thing fast, I need this now. You're like, it's rendering, so like it's taking time, but then it's like the plugin working and bumping up your render time like crazy. I feel
Yeah.
like you need to get that for your if there is a plugin like that for Octane, you need to get it for yourself. So when the client is like, let us have it now, you're like, well, it's rendering. I want to go do something, or you don't have to tell them you're doing anything. You just say it's rendering, and it's taking years to render. Sounds like something I would do.
Well, there's times where it's like I'll be rendering something and it'll be taking like a half hour or so, and then I'll take my dog, for instance, he's sitting behind me right now. I'm gonna spell the word. I'll take him for a WALK. If he hears me say this word, he'll get way too excited. So we can't say the word. But like I would take him for one of those, and then when I come back, then the render would be done. That is a really nice
Yeah,
the freedom of freelancing and working from home is that I can do that. And then also that I'm going outside, I'm not staring at my screen. It's nice. Whereas at the office, I would probably be inside the whole time.
yep.
Especially if I brought my lunch or unless I'm going out for lunch,
That's why
I'd
you're
just
your
be
own
inside the whole
boss.
day.
That's why you're your own boss. With power comes great responsibility, though.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, there's many times where it's like I don't eat lunch until 3, and that's also because that's when I get hungry or I'm that busy. Uh, but
Yeah,
yeah, I saw that Logan asked what's the secret to getting a 3090, and uh, I was very lucky that on the MoGraph Slack, well, the MoGraph.com guys talk about the app Hotstock, which I have that, and then you can set up a an alert for when a 3090 is available at Best Buy, which is great. But also, every time I got an alert, it was never available. I think in my area because St. Louis, we always get things lost.
yeah.
It's part of being in the middle of the country, and we're just not important enough here, and that's okay.
I
But
mean, we
there's a
get
whole
things.
channel on the MoGraph Slack about hardware, and a guy in there was nice enough that he had just like he's like, "Oh, I just got another one from this guy. Do you want me to see if he has one available?" He checked, he was out, but then like he kept an eye out for me, and then he let me know when there was one on eBay, and I did pay more.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm so glad I did. It is worth it. There was definitely an upcharge. I ended up dropping about 2 grand on it,
Um,
but
2 grand.
I know it's a lot, but it's already paid for itself. And
Yeah.
it's just wonderful. It makes my stress levels go way down. Like when I'm planning render times, I'm still giving huge amounts of buffer room for myself for render times, but there was always like any 3D project, it's like you got to make sure you've got like a few days. If you're rendering more than one shot, you need to like just to make sure because things will go wrong in the render and then you'll have to fix it,
Now you just
just a
have those
buffer
time
room.
to chill and
Yeah,
just take a walk and just have coffee.
yeah.
That's so fun.
But but yeah, I got it off eBay and I was glad I snagged that one because then he listed another one which was even more expensive.
That was
Although, like, while before I like press purchase, I was on the phone with my brother and I'm like reading all the stuff off. I'm like making sure that all of this is going to work in the computer he's going to build me, making sure that I'm not buying something wrong somehow. Cause, when you're dropping that much money,
hmm
I got, okay,
yeah.
like this is it, right? Like double checking everything. I'm like, okay, I bought it. And then there was like my card wasn't working, so I had to use PayPal because I think it thought I was, it was like, what are you doing spending $2,000 on eBay? I'm like, yeah, you don't expect this from
Yeah.
me. Debit cards. We're gonna use this.
I'm tired of debit cards. Like there are so many times I want to buy something and it just doesn't work. I feel like Amazon should start supporting debit cards, sorry, PayPal soon, because I'm seriously tired of the debit card system. So many times they block my account because of
Yeah.
debit cards.
Oh, it was just, I'm sure that like that's a debit card that I don't really use very often. I have it because it's connected to my savings account, so it's really like a fast way for me to pull some money out when I need to get something
hmm
like that. So I have too many banks, but
Money.
like it, it just it's a card that I really don't use very often, if at all. So like that was just like, all right, like I know I got the money to buy this graphics card on this debit card, like in that checking
Yeah.
account, then we're gonna get it. And yeah, it was just like yeah, added to the stress of the moment of I'm spending all this money on this graphics card and also my payment wouldn't go through. And now I'm like freaking out that someone else is going to buy it while I'm logging into PayPal to get it. It's just like, got to get it before someone else does. It's very, yeah,
I get you.
yeah, yeah. It was a kind of a stressful moment. And then it was like, I bought it. I'm like, okay, I did it. It's done.
Yep.
And then they shipped it so fast. It showed up very quickly. And it was rather funny while my little brother was building my
I'm
computer.
definitely
There was one morning I woke up with a text message from him and he was like, "This graphics card is huge." I'm like, "Uh-huh. I gave you the box. Like
yeah.
I handed you the box. Did you just think the box was really big?"
I'm definitely going to send you a couple of scenes to render for me because you have a 3090. You have no excuse. You can render it in seconds. And my scenes are like really, really heavy. They're 4K. They have a lot of volume and transmission and subsurface scattering, and everything is max samples. Like you're going to render for me. I'm no longer paying for render farms. I have somebody with a 3090.
But I'm using it.
It doesn't mean you can use your other computer while I'm rendering.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I just keep getting, yeah. we were joking, well, not joking. We were kind of talking about it on game night about because Rob was like, "You need to share." I'm like, "I'll share if I'm not using it." And then it was kind of like, "Whoa, what if we like created sort of like a shared system with all the game night crew of whenever you're not using your computer that we could do like a team render on things or something." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Would you do it? I would happily join Wimbush's game night if you do that because I'm like, oh my god, at least I get to render for free in your game. Or be like, yeah, I'm going to join the game night.
You know, it's a collection of friends, and friends we like to help out each other, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I feel sad that I've never actually been in your game night, and I'm going to send Wimbush a message after. Like, I want to try. She's on so many missed calls on my
no, game
phone.
night is a great time. Most of the game night crew is in the chat.
What game? True, like I can see everyone. I can see Kenzar.
hmm
James left. EJ is
Yeah,
here.
he said he was going to be late to everyone's live streams today.
Yep. And Logan is here. Everyone is literally here. Okay. Sorry. I'm just wanted to say
I
that.
shared in our game night Discord channel. I was like, "Hey, this is happening today." I was also asking them if there was anything specific they wanted me to show or share with the Coming to America animation. And since I'm working on doing some behind the scenes renders of that, some clay renders to show, you know,
You can do
to
like
show that
a
this is
process
3D.
video.
This isn't a photo. Like, this isn't real products. I made these.
I've actually never thought it wasn't 3D. I think it's just probably my eye because I have this weird eye where I can easily tell that something is 3D. Like maybe
Yeah.
because I've seen like thousands of 3D hyper-realistic characters and all, and I'm like, nah, I'm used to it. What looks like
Yeah.
real life to you is like 3D to
Yeah.
me.
I think, yeah, everyone in the industry can tell because we know, but the layperson,
They're like,
just like scrolling through Instagram will just assume that it is a video of like a video of actual products that have been manipulated some way. I mean, even Oma thought that the first lipstick animation, when they reached out to me, they were asking me to do stop motion. I'm like, well, that's not stop motion. That's. I was like thinking, like, how do you think I did the glitter and it's stop motion? Do you know how hard that would be? Like that, because I
maybe
had glitter blowing through the
maybe you would
feathers.
have a
One
green
thing, okay, the
screen and
feathers I
you.
could do maybe with like fishing line, but glitter.
No, I
Stop
think what you
motion
do is
glitter.
you have a green
That's
screen
that
and then you blow
huge
glitter.
headache.
You. I was saying that I think what you would do is if you're doing the glitters, you would have like a green screen at the background. You record it, it's in stop motion, then you just blow it. But then you have a huge headache, like compositing it, removing the green screen. Sorry, removing the
hmm
green screen. It's just not worth the stress.
For sure. Yeah, I have done a stop motion piece before, but it's never seen the light of day. This was back at Relive and there was a lighting flicker issue, so it was basically unusable. But I still have the software for it. I have Dragon Frame, but it was worth it to me just for the moment where I saw my puppet look like he was alive in the playback. I'm like, I got the motion right. Look at that. I did it.
That feeling of like actually getting something done is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I love stop motion. I'm a huge Leica fan. And like all the different stop motion, like Chicken Run, I love that. Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep. Like
Um,
they're all fantastic and
Kibo,
fun.
there was this
But
there's this
yeah.
movie that was
That's
also
not something I could probably do on my I could do it on my own, but there would just be so much setup required.
Yep,
It's easier to kind of fake stop motion on the computer.
yep, like so easy. Okay, I just wanted to say before we leave the stream that I'm dropping my book this midnight. I'm just trying to finish up the illustrations and I'm trying to buy a
hmm
camera before the next 2 weeks. So the book is kind of like funding my camera. So like I need about 20 people to buy my book for me to get a full camera. So if
hmm
you will be so kind to grace me with your dollars and learn some things and make more dollars because the book will pay for itself. Order the freelance kit, and by God's grace, Sarah also contributed in the freelance kit, and some other amazing motion designers that refuse to be mentioned contributed in the freelance kit. So please buy the freelance kit. I'm sharing the link in the chat. Pre-order it and get it this midnight. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Sorry, let me quickly announce who the next guest is. The next guest is. Sorry, let me quickly add Sarah's face here, and I would announce so people can actually hear your voice because I and sorry, one sec. Awesome, this is it. Transition.
Mhm. Oh, Rob says there's no audio. Yeah, audio is out. Oh, Rob says they can hear me. Ah, they're just hearing me agree with you. Oh,
Why I don't like this is why I don't like OBS.
uh,
How can like this is so embarrassing? Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. All right, so I was just trying to say that the next person coming is Michael Jones, and he's one of those people that I steal his words of wisdom every single time. A lot of things I say in my channel is basically referencing him. A lot of the things, not all of the things. He's one of the smartest people I know, and I'm really lucky to have him on the stream. And we're going to be talking about, and I paused by saying that you guys are going to definitely hear what I'm going to tweet about what we're going to be talking about after this live stream. But then the stream is going to be happening this time next week, which is let me check my calendar again on the 17th of this month. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. So you guys shouldn't miss it. This is Michael Jones, the founder and convener of Mograph Mentor. He is one of the smartest people I know. And I'm just really excited about the live stream. And I also mentioned the fact that we're having like more people coming in this month. We have like James is coming in this month, Fried Pixels is coming in this month, and Byron is coming in this month. A lot of people that you don't know. And I have one final surprise guest that I just want to surprise you guys with coming in this month. So like I'm really excited about everything that is going to be happening in this month. Sorry, I'm trying to set up OBS so I can leave this live stream. Oh my god. I've messed up my OBS and I'm trying to fix it. In case anyone is wondering why the screen is still the same, OBS really needs to work on their ease of use because it's definitely messing, it's definitely like disturbing me. One sec. Ah, we're back. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm really sorry for like the OBS thingy. This is like my second time using OBS for live streams and I'm still figuring it out. But then I really love the fact that the stream feels more like scripted in a way. It feels really clean and I took my time to design it. But thank you very much, Sarah, for coming to this stream and spending the last 2 hours talking to this random guy from Nigeria. And we're definitely going to talk more. We chat almost every day nowadays. So we're going to keep chatting every day for the rest of our lives.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah, I'll just set that out. I'm definitely going to drop by and like I just come up with random. I just wake up one morning or just sit down and then one random inspiration come in. I'm like, boom! I have to text. I have to text Sarah this idea that I just have, and then I just go on my Instagram and I'm like, hey Sarah, what do you think about this? And then you reply. That's literally how our conversations goes every time. I really hope we have more of those conversations. Thank you very much
Mhm.
for having this stream with me. And the next few seconds, you guys are going to see my end card, and we're going to end the stream. Don't forget to buy the freelance kit coming out this midnight as soon as I can finish my illustrations. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye. See you next week with Michael Jones.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.